During my junior year, I lived in an off-campus house with two other girls. It was a decent place, old and creaky but cheap. We each had our own rooms and shared a single bathroom in the hallway. One night, I got home from a late class around 10:30. Both my roommates were out. One was with her boyfriend, the other working an overnight shift. The house was silent when I walked in, too silent. I showered, washed my face, and left the curtain open like I always do. Then went back to my room to finish up some reading before bed. Maybe half an hour later, I went back to brush my teeth and noticed the shower curtain was closed. I stopped in the doorway. Something about it felt wrong. Like that little instinct in the back of your head was yelling at you to pay attention. I pulled it open slowly. Nothing. Empty. I stood there for a second, trying to tell myself I must have closed it out of habit. But I couldn't remember doing that. Still, I brushed it off, left it open, brushed my teeth, turned off the bathroom light, and went back to my room. Maybe 20 minutes later, I needed to pee, so I walked back down the hallway, switched on the bathroom light, and the curtain was closed. Again. But this time, it looked different, like it had been pulled with just a little too much force, like whoever closed it was trying to do it quietly. I stood there, frozen, listening. The house was dead silent, but I swear I could hear breathing. Faint, shaky, coming from behind that curtain. I called my roommate with shaking hands. She answered, said she hadn't even come home yet. I didn't open the curtain. I didn't even go in the bathroom. I turned around, locked myself in my room, and called the police. They arrived within minutes and did a full sweep of the house. No one was there. No signs of forced entry. But the back door, the one we always keep locked, it was cracked open, just an inch, like someone had slipped out, just before the cops arrived. They said whoever it was must have been watching from inside, hiding, waiting for the right moment to leave. The next day, we installed 2 new deadbolts, and I started sleeping with a knife in my nightstand. It was finals week, and the library was open 24 hours. I stayed late one night, cramming for my physics final in one of the back corners of the top floor, the kind of spot no one really walks by unless they're trying to be alone. By the time I looked up, the building was practically empty. The silence was heavy, the kind that makes you suddenly aware of how loud your own breathing is. It was a little past 1 a.m. when I finally packed up and headed out. The air outside was cold and dead quiet, the kind of quiet that hums in your ears. I only lived about 10 minutes from campus, so I figured I'd walk. But a few blocks in, I got that feeling, like someone was behind me, watching me. I turned around slowly. That's when I saw her. A woman, not a student. She looked older, her face pale under the streetlight. She was wearing a long, dark coat that almost touched the ground, and her walk was slow, like each step had purpose, like she was following a rhythm I couldn't hear. She was about a block behind me. At first, I thought, maybe she's just walking home too. But the longer I watched her, the more I felt that drop in my stomach. I crossed the street suddenly. She did too. I picked up my pace. So did she. No phone, no bag, no expression. Just those eyes, fixed straight ahead, like she was staring through me. I turned a sharp corner onto a side street trying to throw her off, and I stopped under a street lamp to pretend I was tying my shoe. She came around the corner and stopped too, not close, not far, just far enough to make you wonder if she was waiting for something. She didn't look at me, didn't say a word, just stood there, still. That's when I pulled out my phone and faked a call, calm but loud. "Hey, yeah, I see you. You're already standing by the gate? Okay, cool, I'll be there soon." Right then, she moved. Not fast, not nervous, just turned around and walked, back the way she came. No words, no glance back, just vanished into the dark, like she never existed. I stood there for a long time, frozen, trying to figure out what just happened. Eventually, I called the police and reported a suspicious woman following me. An officer came out, took down everything I could remember, and gave me a ride home. The next morning, campus security sent out a warning email. Apparently, there'd been other reports of a woman loitering near dorms and classroom buildings late at night, just standing there. She never talked, never approached anyone. But people always said the same thing. They'd look up and see her standing there watching, like she was waiting to see who'd walk away and who wouldn't. Now I drive to the library, even if it's only a few blocks, because whatever she was waiting for, I don't want it to be me. During my sophomore year, I was part of a small anatomy study group that met a few times a week in one of the campus science buildings. We usually wrapped up around 9 p.m., sometimes later if we had a quiz coming up. There was this guy who started showing up to our sessions, called himself Rob. He wasn't in our class, but someone said he was a pre-med student who needed extra help. No one questioned it. Campus buildings were open late and he didn't say much, just sat quietly, watching our diagrams and scribbling in a notebook. At first I figured he was just shy, but after a few weeks, I started noticing things. He never talked, never contributed. He never pulled out a student ID, no laptop, just watched. One night everyone packed up early. I stayed behind to review flashcards. About 10 minutes later I heard a voice behind me. "You always stay the latest." I turned. Rob was standing just a few feet away, staring. I kind of laughed it off. "Yeah, guess I'm a slow learner." He smiled, but said nothing else, just kept standing there. I grabbed my bag and said I had to meet someone. As I walked out, I looked back. He was still standing there, still smiling. I skipped the next study session. Didn't want to deal with Rob, but I went to the one after that. I really needed help. Rob showed up again, still not talking, still just watching. Toward the end, it was just John, Rob, and me. I had to use the bathroom, so I asked John to watch my stuff. I went to one of the private bathrooms in the library. They're cleaner than the public ones. A minute after I locked the door, I heard fidgeting, like someone trying the handle. I called out, "It's occupied." The sound stopped. Then I heard it again, a slower jiggle, like they were being careful this time. Something in my gut said this wasn't normal. I called campus security from my phone and said, "Someone's trying to break into the women's bathroom. I need help now." The fidgeting stopped almost immediately after I ended the call. Campus security showed up within minutes. I was crying, shaking. I told them everything, and I told them about Rob. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I checked the school directory. No Rob matching his description, no student photo, no class enrollment, nothing. A few days later an officer called me back. They told me Rob wasn't his real name. His real name was Kane. I never saw Rob, or Kane, again. I don't know if he was expelled or arrested, but after that I never studied alone in an empty classroom again, and I always made sure someone walked me home.